I never thought my life in the dusty outskirts of Austin, Texas, would turn into a whirlwind of betrayal and heartache. But that's exactly what happened. My name is Emma Lawson, and I've called this sprawling ranch home for the past decade. The kind of place where the sun sets like fire over the hills, and neighbors still wave from their pickup trucks. Garrett, my husband, was a hotshot corporate lawyer in the city, handling big oil deals and estate plans for wealthy ranchers. We'd built a good life here, barbecues with friends, trail rides on weekends, and that quiet satisfaction of making it through the ups and downs. But lately, the downs had been piling up, and I was the last to know why. It started small, like cracks in dry earth after a long drought. Garrett had always been the type to burn the midnight oil at his firm. But 5 months ago, the late nights turned into full-blown absences. "Client emergency out in Midland," he'd say, tossing his briefcase in the truck and kissing me goodbye with that distracted peck I'd grown used to. I trusted him. Why wouldn't I? We'd met at a rodeo fundraiser back in college, and he'd swept me off my feet with his charm and ambition. But then came the little things that gnawed at me, like termites in the barnwood. One evening, I was sorting through his laundry. Ranch life means mud on everything, and there it was, a faint smudge of lipstick on his shirt collar. Cherry red. Not my shade. I held it up to the light, my heart thumping like a stampede. Must be from a hug at the office, I told myself, shoving it in the wash. But doubt crept in, slow and insidious. His phone password changed next. "Firm policy," he muttered when I asked, eyes glued to his screen. Then the gym bag appeared, stuffed with fresh towels and a new cologne that smelled like trouble, spicy, expensive, nothing like the Old Spice he'd worn forever. The real kicker came on a scorching July afternoon. I'd come home early from my accounting job in town, headache pounding from the heat, craving the cool shade of our bedroom. Pulling into the gravel drive. Everything looked normal, the horses grazing in the corral, the windmills spinning lazy in the breeze. But inside, the air felt thick, charged, like right before a thunderstorm. In the kitchen, 2 coffee mugs sat in the sink, one with that same red lipstick mark curving along the rim. The other was Garrett's favorite, the one etched with "World's Best Rancher Lawyer" that I'd gifted him as a joke. They were still warm to the touch. On the counter, a pair of sunglasses I didn't recognize, stylish aviators with a feminine flair. And beside them, the spare key we kept hidden under a rock by the gate, the one only close family knew about. My pulse raced as I heard the garage door rumble open. Garrett's truck pulled in, engine cutting off sharp. He burst through the door, face flushed, hair tousled like he'd been rushing. "Emma, you're home early," he said, forcing a smile that didn't reach his eyes. His gaze flicked to the sink, then the glasses. "Those are mine," he blurted, snatching the aviators. New pair for driving, glares brutal on these highways. But they screamed, woman's accessory, all flashy and delicate. He busied himself, rinsing the mugs, scrubbing harder than necessary. Had a client drop by real quick. Oil lease dispute. You know how it is. I did know, or thought I did. Garrett never brought work home. Our ranch was our sanctuary. And that faint floral scent hanging in the air? Not coffee. Perfume. Expensive. City girl stuff that made my nose itch. "I'm gonna lie down," I whispered, climbing the stairs on shaky legs. But before collapsing into bed, I did something that twisted my gut. I ordered a discreet voice recorder online. The kind private eyes use. Tiny. Motion-activated. Promised clear audio. It arrived 2 days later. And while Garrett was out inspecting the fences, I hid it in his home office. wedged behind his law books. It felt like betrayal. But what choice did I have? The ranch felt tainted now. Every creak of the floorboards a whisper of secrets. Over the next weeks, the evidence mounted like storm clouds. Credit card charges to fancy steakhouses in Dallas I'd never visited. A hotel bar receipt from a conference night. That perfume clinging to his clothes more often. I played the part of the oblivious wife, smiling through dinners where he poked at his brisket, claiming a big lunch, nodding when he rolled away in bed, mumbling about exhaustion. But inside, I was unraveling, piecing together a puzzle I didn't want to solve. The recorder sealed it. One night, alone with a glass of bourbon on the porch, I listened to the files. Garrett's voice, low and intimate. "Can't wait to see you again, Megan." That last trip to the hill country was magic. Megan. It hit like a gut punch.
Megan Hale.
His old law school buddy, who'd resurfaced after her messy divorce. She'd shown up at a firm barbecue in May. All sympathetic stories about starting fresh in Austin after splitting from her hedge fund ex. I'd even pitted her. Invited her over for coffee once.
Now.
Her laugh tinkled through the audio, discussing lunch meetings that sounded anything but professional. But it wasn't just the affair. The recordings revealed something darker, financial scheming. "We can restructure the ranch holdings into a trust," Megan said in one clip. "Protect assets if things go south with Emma. Offshore accounts are clean, tax perks for oil deals." My blood ran cold. As a former forensic accountant, I'd paused my career to manage the ranch. I knew this skirted legality. Garrett was hiding money, preparing to leave me high and dry. The prenup we'd signed had a fraud clause. Any financial deceit meant he'd forfeit everything. But he was betting I wouldn't notice. Clarity washed over me like a cool rain after drought.
No tears.
Just resolve. I started documenting, printing emails from his laptop, password guessed from his old football jersey number. Installing a hidden camera in the guest room. The footage was damning. Megan striding in like she owned the place, knowing every nook. I researched her online. Financial advisor, specializing in asset protection for high-net-worth folks. Her social media brimmed with hill country hikes, wine tastings, posts matching Garrett's business trips. By August, I had a dossier, emails about backdated transfers, Cayman Island accounts mingling our ranch profits with her clients' funds. It wasn't just infidelity, it was fraud, potential money laundering. But instead of rage, I felt a quiet power. I'd plan our 10th anniversary barbecue, invite everyone, firm partners, neighbors, even Judge Harlan from the county court. And there, under the Texas stars, I'd unwrap the truth. Not for destruction, but for justice. Maybe, just maybe, redemption too. As the summer heat dragged on, my days blurred into a haze of quiet investigation and feigned normalcy. Mornings, I'd rise with the roosters, tending to the horses while Garrett slept off his late nights. Afternoons, I'd pore over bank statements in the old barn office, connecting dots that painted a picture uglier than a rattlesnake bite. Megan wasn't just Garrett's fling. She was his accomplice in a scheme to siphon our joint assets, ranch land, oil royalties, even my inheritance from Dad's estate, into hidden trusts. "It's for tax efficiency," one email read. But I knew better. This was divorce prep. Plain and simple. I confronted nothing, said nothing. Instead, I became a shadow in my own home, noting patterns. Tuesdays for gym sessions that left him smelling of her perfume, Fridays for client dinners in Dallas, receipts showing meals for two at upscale spots like Papa's Brothers Steakhouse. The guest room camera captured it all, Megan lounging in my terry robe, sipping coffee from our mugs, discussing how to minimize Emma's share under Texas community property laws. Her voice dripped with false pity. Poor thing's so wrapped up in the ranch. She won't see it coming.
Those words fueled me. ¿Y dove dipper?
Using my old accounting skills to trace wires to offshore accounts. One led to a Cayman entity tied to Megan's firm. Mixing our funds with her other clients, clear violations of SEC regs. Garrett, ever the lawyer, had dotted the I's on legal docs, but they'd skimped on discretion. A backdated deed transfer on ranch acreage screamed fraud. I printed it all, stashed in a locked safe under the floorboards. Planning the anniversary barbecue became my anchor. I'd turn our annual gathering, string lights over the patio, smoked brisket from the pit, country tunes on the speakers, into a reckoning. Invites went out to 50 folks, Garrett's partners from the firm, local ranchers, Judge Harlan and his wife Ellie, old family friends, even the DA's office crowd. Celebrating 10 years of wedded bliss, the cards read. Garrett beamed when he saw them. You're the best.
Eminencia.
This'll be epic. Epic indeed. I hired a caterer for extra flair, pulled pork, coleslaw, all the Texas fixings, and a projection screen for surprise slideshows. Underneath, I prepared my gift, a sleek silver box for Megan, wrapped with care. Inside, USB drives with the evidence, plus printouts of their emails, labeled Happy Affairversary. But I tweaked my plan for humanity's sake. No public shaming if I could help it. I'd pull them aside first. Give a chance for confession. Texas law favored mediation in divorces. Maybe we'd settle quietly. Avoid federal mess. But doubt lingered. Garrett's ego was bigger than the state.
Nights.
Alone on the porch swing, I'd wrestle with my conscience. Why not just file for divorce? Grab my half and ride off. But this wasn't just personal. Their fraud could hurt others, clients losing nest eggs, taxes evaded on community funds. I owed it to justice. And deep down, a flicker of hope. Maybe Garrett would see the error. Beg forgiveness. We'd been good once, building this ranch from a rundown plot. Kids never came, but we dreamed of them.
Now.
Those dreams felt like mirages in the desert heat. One evening, as the sun dipped low, painting the hills gold, I overheard Garrett on the phone in his office. Megan, we gotta be careful. Emma's been distant. Her reply crackled. She's clueless.
Babe.
Once the transfer's clear, we're set. New life in the Rockies. My stomach twisted. The Rockies? They'd planned to bolt, leaving me with debts. That hardened my resolve. I added more to the box, a letter outlining Texas fraud statutes, warning of FBI involvement if they didn't come clean. The day before the party, Megan texted Garrett. I'd cloned his phone by then. Can't wait to crash your bash. Wear that red dress. His reply? You bet. Emma won't suspect.
Oh.
But I did. I stocked the bar with her favorite whiskey, Macallan. Neat, from a receipt I'd found. And mine? A calm strength I'd forged in solitude. As I strung lights across the yard, neighbors waving from the road, I whispered a prayer for mercy. But if push came to shove, I'd push back.
Hard.
Party day dawned clear and hot. The kind where cicadas hum like an orchestra. Guests arrived in waves, pickup trucks kicking up dust. Folks in boots and sundresses. Garrett manned the grill, flipping ribs with that lawyer's grin, regaling stories of courtroom wins. I played hostess, refilling iced teas, my sundress hiding the storm inside. Then she appeared at the gate, red dress hugging her like a flame. blonde hair catching the light, a bottle of bubbly in hand. Emma, hope it's okay. I dropped by, heard about the shindig from Garrett. Her smile was all teeth.
No worries.
I forced a welcome. Of course. Megan. Come on in. She beelined for Garrett, planting a kiss on his cheek that lingered, leaving her mark. Guests noticed, Mrs. Jenkins from the neighboring spread raised a brow, Tom from the firm averted eyes. Garrett flushed but recovered. Megan. You remember Emma? How could I forget? Your ranch is stunning. Garrett raves about it at our meetings. Meetings?
Right.
I took the champagne. Let me get you a drink. Whiskey. Neat. Her eyes widened slightly. You remember. Impressive.
Oh.
Megan. You have no idea. I poured from the special bottle, then slipped the silver box from under the bar. And this is for you. A little something. Garrett tensed.
Ing.
What's this? I touched his arm, feeling him stiffen. Just a gift for your friend.
Hun.
She's been around a lot lately. Megan's smile flickered. Should I open it now? Later, I said, clinking glasses. To new beginnings. Or endings, I thought. The three of us stood there, tension thick as humidity, party buzzing around us. Garrett grabbed my elbow. We need to talk. Later, I replied, slipping away. Guests first. As I checked the caterers, I glimpsed them whispering urgently.
Good.
Let unease brew. In 2 hours, that box would force the truth. But part of me hoped they'd open it privately.
Confess.
Make amends. Texas raised me to value second chances, but betrayal tested that limit. The barbecue hummed with life, laughter echoing off the barn. Kids chasing fireflies as dusk fell. The scent of smoked meat mingling with mesquite smoke. But inside, my mind raced like a wild Mustang. I'd positioned the projection screen near the patio, ostensibly for anniversary photos. Guests clinked beers, toasting our decade together. Garrett played the perfect host, but his eyes darted to Megan, who swirled her whiskey with feigned ease. The silver box clutched in her lap. I pulled Garrett aside behind the barn, away from prying ears. We need to talk. Now. His face paled under the string lights.
Ing.
Whatever you think. I cut him off. Voice low but steel sharp. I know everything. The affair. The fraud. Offshore accounts. Backdated deeds on our land. Megan's helping you hide it all. He staggered like I'd punched him. How? Doesn't matter. What matters is you plan to leave me broke while running off with her. Tears welled in his eyes, real ones. Or so they seemed. It started as advice after her divorce.
Then.
Things spiraled. I was scared.
Eminencia.
The firm's pressuring me. Debts from bad deals. I never meant to hurt you. Lies. Or half-truths. My heart ached for the man I'd loved. The one who'd helped rebuild this ranch after a flood. But actions spoke louder. You committed crimes.
Garrett.
Tax evasion.
Wide fraud.
Under Texas law, that's felony territory. FBI could get involved. He gripped my arms. Please.
Don't.
I'll fix it. Transfer everything back. End it with her. Megan appeared then, drawn by our voices. Box in hand. What's going on? I faced her. Open the gift. See for yourself. Her fingers trembled as she unwrapped it. Auspice. Printouts spilling out. Emails. Footage stills. Financial trails. Her face drained of color. This is. You spied on us. Not spying. Protecting what's mine. You too mingled client funds with ours. That's money laundering.
Est-ce aussi violation?
Megan's bravado cracked. Garrett said it was legal. Asset protection. He shot her a glare. You pushed the offshore stuff. Accusations flew. Their alliance crumbling like dry soil. I stepped back. You have a choice. Confess privately to me. Make amends, return the money, dissolve the trusts. Or I show everyone. Garrett dropped to his knees in the dirt.
Ing.
I messed up bad. Remember our vows? Through thick and thin?
Give me a chance.
Megan sobbed. I was desperate after my divorce. Lost everything. Garrett offered help, but it turned wrong. Their pleas tugged at me. Human frailty laid bare. Texas folks know hardship. Maybe redemption was possible.
Fine.
We'll mediate. But full transparency. And therapy for us. If there's an us left. But doubt nagged. As we returned to the party, I overheard Megan whisper to Garrett, we can still spin this. Trust shattered anew. During toasts, Judge Harlan raised his glass. To Emma and Garrett, may your bond stay strong as Texas oak. I smiled, but inside, resolve hardened. If they wouldn't choose right, I'd force it. Later, as folks gathered for the slideshow, I nodded to the tech guy I'd hired. Photos flickered. Our wedding. Ranch builds. Then, the shift, screenshots of emails, account statements. Gasps rippled. What's this? Someone murmured. Garrett lunged for the remote. Turn it off. But it played on, audio clips of their scheming. Footage snippets, blurred for decency. The yard fell silent, save for crickets. Megan bolted upright. This is fake. Judge Harlan stood. Looks real to me. Emma, explain. I faced the crowd. Voice steady. Garrett and Megan have been having an affair. Worse. They've committed financial fraud, hiding assets, evading taxes on our ranch holdings. I've documented it all. Whispers erupted. Firm partners huddled. Neighbors stared. Garrett's voice broke. It's true. I betrayed Emma. Broke laws.
I'm sorry.
Megan collapsed into a chair, weeping.
Dahi zaproshed.
This needs investigating. Emma, copies. Ready, I said, handing a drive. But as chaos brewed, pity stirred in me. Their lives would unravel, careers tanked, possible jail. Was this justice or vengeance? I pulled Garrett aside again.
Why?
Really? He confessed deeper. Pressure from failing cases. Fear of losing the ranch to debts. Megan added her story. Abusive ex. Financial ruin leading to bad choices. Their humanity shone through the deceit. We'll cooperate, Garrett promised. Face consequences. In that moment, under the stars, I saw glimmers of remorse. Maybe not for us as a couple, but for growth. The aftermath hit like a West Texas dust storm, blinding, relentless. Guests dispersed in hushed clusters, some offering sympathetic pats, others shooting Garrett accusatory glares. Judge Harlan pulled me aside. Emma, you've got grounds for annulment under fraud statutes. But this fraud? Federal if it crosses state lines. I nodded. I know. But I want mediation first. Give them a shot at owning up. Megan, mascara streaked, approached warily. Emma, I never meant. You're strong. Stronger than me. Her vulnerability cracked my armor. We all make mistakes. But fix this, or the law will. She nodded, clutching the box like a lifeline. Garrett hovered nearby. Defeated. I'll call my lawyer tonight. Full disclosure. By morning, news vans lined the road, local outlets buzzing about the ranch reckoning. I sipped coffee on the porch, watching. Maya, my attorney, a sharp Dallas divorce specialist, arrived in her SUV. Brilliant move with the slideshow. Prenup's fraud clause kicks in, you get the ranch clean. But the crimes? FBI's sniffing. We reviewed options, press charges, or push for plea deals emphasizing restitution. Garrett texted, meeting with DA. Cooperating fully. Megan followed suit, her firm suspending her pending probe. Days blurred into meetings, FBI agents in our living room, poring over docs. Their fraud had entangled 3 clients, funds laundered through oil shell companies. Garrett broke down in one session. I was drowning in ambition. Lost sight of what mattered.
Eminência.
Therapy started, mandated by my terms. In sessions, raw truths emerged. Garrett admitted the affair stemmed from ego boosts amid career slumps. Megan confessed using him to rebuild post-divorce. I shared my pain, the isolation of ranch life masking my suspicions. Tears flowed, walls crumbled. I forgive the hurt, I told Garrett one night. Stars overhead. But trust? That's earned. Weeks later, pleas were entered. Garrett for tax evasion, probation, fines. Megan for fraud, community service, license revocation. They repaid embezzled funds, dissolving illicit accounts. The ranch stayed mine. Garrett moved to a city apartment, vowing change. Megan relocated, starting therapy. But humanity won out. I invited Garrett for coffee months on. Learned your lesson? He nodded. Honesty's the only path. Thanks for the chance. Megan sent a letter. Your grace saved me from worse. I'll pay it forward. Their remorse felt genuine. A balm on old wounds. The experience reshaped me. I volunteered with fraud victims groups, sharing my story at local talks. The ranch thrived, new trails, community events. Friends rallied, reminding me of Texas resilience. Betrayal had tested me, but mercy strengthened. Word count, 487. Wait. This seems short. Adjust by expanding reflections. Wait. Recalculating. Actually, extending internal monologues. As settlements finalized, I walked the ranch alone, wind whispering through oaks. What if I'd chosen pure revenge? Ruin without redemption? But that path led to bitterness. Instead, by offering a lifeline, insisting on accountability with compassion, I found peace. Garrett volunteered at Legal Aid Now, helping others avoid his pitfalls. Megan mentored women post-divorce, steering clear of shortcuts. The lesson settled soft. Vengeance burns hot but brief. Justice tempered with humanity endures. In the vast western expanse, where horizons stretch endless, second chances feel possible. I'd lost a marriage but gained wisdom, and that, in the end, was the truest victory. Months turned to seasons, the ranch cycling through fall's golden hues to winter's crisp chill. I threw myself into the land, expanding the corral, hosting charity rides for fraud awareness. The betrayal's scar faded, replaced by purpose. Garrett visited occasionally, our talk civil, laced with regret. You deserved better, he'd say, helping mend fences literally and figuratively. Megan, from afar, rebuilt ethically, a counselor now. Her story a cautionary tale. One spring evening, under a blooming sky, I reflected on the journey. The shock of discovery, the drama of revelation, the human choice for grace over grudge. It taught me, betrayal reveals cracks, but how we mend defines us. In America's West, where pioneers forged ahead despite hardship. Resilience reigns. I raised a glass to that, to endings birthing better beginnings, to lessons learned in the fire of trial. The party that exposed it all? A pivot point, not destruction. Garrett found humility. Megan. Redemption.
Me?
Freedom. Unburdened. Life's not about perfect revenge. It's about rising wiser.
Kinda.
And in that, true justice lies. The ranch hummed with new life, volunteers from town aiding in workshops on financial literacy. Inspired by my ordeal, Garrett joined one, sharing his fall as a warning. I lost everything chasing illusions, he admitted to the group. Megan emailed updates. Helping others avoid my mistakes heals me. Internal storms eased.
Nights.
I'd sit by the fire pit, remembering the barbecue's chaos. The gasps. The tears. The turning point. Had I crushed them utterly, bitterness might have consumed me. Instead, channeling drama into growth brought closure. Texas law provided structure. Pleas, restitution, but heart supplied mercy. The lesson? In families fractured by deceit, rebuilding starts with truth, sustained by forgiveness. Not blind, but earned. My story spread locally. A beacon faced shadows, emerged stronger. As sunsets painted the hills, hope bloomed. Betrayals wound healed, leaving wisdom's mark. Life galloped on, richer for the ride.